Today, I'm going to be doing a list of my favorite jrpgs from each console. Uh, so, I avoided doing any remakes or remasters to avoid the same game potentially possibly popping up on the list two or three times. However, I also went with initial releases for consoles. So, because of that, I couldn't find any jrpgs that initially released on any of the Microsoft consoles that I had played. So there won't be anything from any of the Microsoft consoles on this list. So let's get into it. For the NES, I chose Final Fantasy II. I have yet to play any of the Dragon Warrior or Dragon Quest games, and Final Fantasy II of the three NES titles was my favorite. I thought the story was the best told. It tried new things where 3 just kind of piggybacked off of what 1 was doing but made them a little better. More to the SNES, which would be another Final Fantasy title, Final Fantasy VI. So far, of all the Final Fantasy games I've played, it is my favorite. If you saw my other list, my top JRPGs, it was my favorite top JRPG, so clearly it would fall under this slot. As for the Sega Genesis, I chose Beyond Oasis. It's a action RPG, kind of similar to something like Secret of Mana. Also resembles older Zelda games, top down. It was just such a great game. It was very fun. Onwards to Game Boy and Game Boy Color. I lump them together because their game library is pretty small for the Game Boy Color alone. And then it would just pretty much be 2 Pokemon games. But so, anyways, it's Pokemon Gold and Silver. Probably could have been an easy guess again if anyone had watched my previous video. Onwards to Sega Saturn, and that'll be Grandia because it first released on the Saturn. So yeah, so that'd be easy choice. Grandia was a fantastic game. Love Justin as MC. Just good play. For the PlayStation, the Final Fantasy Tactics. The first strategy RPG I ever played. Fell in love with the job system. And it's a game that is still very near to my heart, and I would love for a remaster. To the N64, and we have Paper Mario, the spiritual successor to Mario RPG, and just all-around fun, great game. On to the Dreamcast with Skies of Arcadia. Unfortunately, this is one of the games I hadn't beat that's on this list. I did add a few games that I didn't beat, which is normally something I don't do. However, I did play a fair chunk of it. I really loved the pirate theme. It was really good, and the animation looked gorgeous for the time. And it's just a fantastic game. Heading next on the list would be the GameCube. And my pick for that is Tales of Symphonia. Again, surprise, surprise. Easily the best. I guess you could pick Bait and Kados. There's probably people that like Bait and Kados more than it, but I would say Tales of Symphonia easily the best JRPG on the GameCube. Heading over to the PS2, we got Kingdom Hearts 2. Yeah, I love this game. Like I said, unfortunately, the story falls apart for the franchise after this one, but the gameplay was phenomenal and it was great. On the Game Boy Advance, we have Golden Sun. It's very nice, very fun game. It's short, but it's a Game Boy Advance game, so that's to be expected. I've yet to play the second one. I need to do that so I could experience the full story. But any fan of classic turn RPGs, or I'd say even action RPGs, it has those elements with having to do puzzle solving on the map and stuff. It's just very, very great game. Give it a go. So then we have on the DS. It's funny because this kind of came up earlier, but I have this is an exception to what I said with no remakes, because this game is a completely different game from its previous predecessor, and it was the first time North America ever got to experience it in any capacity, and that is Final Fantasy 3D. So it doesn't even have remake in the name, but it is effectively a remake. But a lot of content's added to the game. A lot more details put into the job systems, because, I mean, we're talking about the difference between an NES game to a 3DS game. and it just it's what I think the game needed to really separate itself from Final Fantasy 1. And it's a great improvement and a great game. And now for the PSP, we have Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, my second favorite Kingdom Hearts game. And to be honest, I haven't played too many JRPGs that are on the PSP. I'm just playing through Crisis Core now, or else maybe it would be in its place. But Birth by Sleep was a great story. I loved Aqua as a character. Couldn't really care much for Ven or Terra, but hey, you can't win them all. Onwards to the PS3, and unfortunately, again, my list of PS3 JRPGs is pretty shallow, or else this game would probably be something else. However, it is Ni no Kunai. Not to say anything negative about the game, because I did actually really enjoy the game, but I just know there's a lot more fan-favored PS3 JRPGs out there that I need to get to. Heading on to the Vita, and my choice was Digimon World Next Order. There's a few Vita JRPGs that I'll be honest, I didn't play them on the Vita, but they were later ported to consoles I played them on, and I've enjoyed them all, but Digimon World Next Order is the one that I think if I were to go back to one, I would go back to it. I had so much fun with the game. To the Wii, I think I got a little chronological out of order here, but we're on the Wii, and I chose Tales of Symphonia Dawn of the New World. Symphonia Dawn of the New World it's not the sequel we wanted, but it's the sequel we got, and it had some fun characters and fun moments. But it is almost my default pick for the Wii. And then on to the Wii U, which I think the only game it did have was Tokyo Mirage Session, which is actually a very solid JRPG. However, I made the issue of not saving for a very long time, and I then died on a boss or something, and that game never got touched again. I was pretty deep in it, and I definitely regret that occurring. To the 3DS, we have Bravely Default. This game was just so fun. The characters were great. Like Ring a Bell and I can't remember the little blonde's name. The interaction between them was just fantastic. And the classic job system, the turn-based system with a little spin on with the Brave Default system. I loved it. And unfortunately, its sequel won't join on the list, but it was a great game. Fantastic game. To the PS4, we have Final Fantasy VII Remake. I fell in love with combat right away. I liked Final Fantasy VII. It's probably my top 5 Final Fantasy games. And it did it justice and then some. Like it would have been nice to get a little more of the story, but what they did with the story for the most part was good. A little bit of filler near the end, and like I said, the combat was phenomenal. Great play. Anyone that's a Final Fantasy fan should give the game a try. On to the Switch, and this will probably become no surprise to anyone, but my choice on the Switch is Fire Emblem Three Houses. I'd like to play this game again. I said that in my other video. It was just a great experience. The characters were fantastic. Combat was great. It was the perfect Fire Emblem game for me. I know that's not true for a lot of people, and maybe one day I will see things differently as well, but for now it is great. So unfortunately that ends our list because I have not played